And the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and have burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out their bands, made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest son's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I alone am escaped to tell thee. Then Job arose and ripped or tore his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came I of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God with foolishness or with folly. I want you to help me preach this message, and my thought tonight will be, when hard times come. And I want you to preach to your neighbor. Look at your neighbor and says, neighbor, I know you've been through some stuff, but let me forewarn you, you haven't been through it all, because hard times are coming. Tell them, get ready. You think you've been through, but hard times, come on, say it like you mean it, hard times are coming. That's my thought tonight. When hard times, when hard times come. This particular epic of Job, and first of all, it is considered to be the first book of wisdom. According to the canon letters from the Old Testament, it is the book of wisdom. Not the Proverbs, but the book of Job. Yes, sir. Of course, the others is Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. Yeah. Wisdom is the key function of this literature, of which the epistle James himself begins to fortify. And he uses it as an example to deal with the broad realm of human experience. It is set forth not long, but it's set in short, pithy sayings. In other words, they are proverbs or essays. They're monologues, as it is in Job's drama. It deals with the issues of life, that you can be up one day and down another. You will find this even when Paul deals with the 2 Corinthian letter at the 4th and the 8th and the 9th verse. Somehow I believe that Paul had a real understanding about human suffering. So when he addresses the church at Corinth, he deals with, from the 4th chapter, verses 8 and 9. When he says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed, we are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, cast down, but not destroyed. It is something when Paul begins to deal with suffering. In other words, a person that has not really been through too much can hardly tell you anything. Paul even said later on that be careful who you choose as a leader. Don't choose a novice. Someone that can only talk about other experiences but have no experience himself. It's kind of hard to tell folk how to rear children and you've never been a father. It's kind of hard to tell folk how to mother children and you've never mothered a child. It's kind of hard to tell folk how to have a successful marriage and you've never been married. And I found out you don't have to go to school but experience. They used to call it years ago mother wit. An experience, they used to say, is always the better teacher. When you go through, you can really expound on your experience. I tell folk to be a Christian, I want you to tell me about all the good things, but let me see your wounds. I wish I had some help up here. Let me see your scars. You can talk a good mess, but when I see your wounds, when you tell me about your tears, and you tell me about your suffering, and I must tell you people that we suffer in the body of Christ. I said we suffer in the body of Christ. There's wounds coming from everywhere. Sometimes we're wounded by our friends. I wish I had some help. Sometimes we get our worst wounds are right in our congregations. Oh, David said it was not my enemy, but the one that I took sweet communion with. The one that I ate my meals with and I shared my innermost thoughts. He's lifted up his heel against me. What do you mean? That he divulged my secrets. He told of my exploits of life. The things I entrusted him. Have you ever told anybody something you didn't want nobody else to know? Have you ever shared a secret and similar before you could get around the throne? Everybody knew about what you went through. I wish I had some help here. But we ought to be able to have confidence and confide in one another. Because believe it or not, you're going to need somebody. I know they're crying on your shoulder, but pretty soon you're going to have to cry on someone else's shoulder. There's some things, and I tell folk, we all got issues. I wish I could get somebody to agree with me. I know you've been to the mountaintop, and I know you've seen the coming of the Lord, and you've been anointed, but maybe you still got issues. In this life, you must have tribulation. That tribulation will work some patience in you. I'm telling folk, baby, you got to go through something first. Am I talking about it? I look at these young girls and boys, they're falling in love, in and out, and in and out. I said, you wait. Keep falling. You wait till somebody break their heart. You find out what love really is about after you had a broken heart. See, until your heart gets broken, you'll never know the real experience of having intimate and loving and kindness. We gotta have some help here. Mother Spool, you could tell them about some stuff here. Then I ain't just got married yesterday. I got children 40, almost 50 years old. So I ain't no baby. Amen. I've been digging around a long time. Thank God for y'all telling me I look all right, but I don't look good. You start cutting 70 years old, baby, don't fool yourself. Tell somebody, don't fool yourself. And don't let nobody dig a ditch for you to fall in. When they switch and teach it, they mess around and trip up and fall. Tell somebody, but trouble is coming your way. Tell them hard times will come. Job here, he writes of an experience. Are you praying with me? Although we would rather ourselves to avoid all possibilities of having hard time. Yet all of us encounter sooner or later. I'm just talking about hard times. Those times when everything seems to go wrong. The time when the bills keep on piling up. When serious physical complications occur. After having gone to the doctor and eaten everything right, exercise properly, and doing all the things that you should do, but then something physically happens and gives complications in your life. You're talking to everybody here. Those times when job security is at an all-time low. And I'm telling you now, baby, you can be on a job a long time and still lose your employment. Sometimes you can save and 401k, baby, just won't do it. I wish I had some help here. When hard times come, those times when molehills seem to become mountains. Am I talking to anybody here? Those times when you come to the end of your rope, just can't take no more. Those times when you wonder what's the use of going on.
Yes, sir.
Why I keep coming to church? Because my troubles are still surmounted.